Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Azrael in his Batman armor. This is Azrael from Knightsend in the red variation of suit. Looks very sleek, very sick. I got this guy at Target today with the rest of the wave, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see, the top 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Azrael in Batman armor. Here he's in the package. Looks like he has removable wings, display stand, and collector's card. One side of the package, Azrael in Batman armor from Batman Knightsend. Other side says Azrael in Batman armor. At the bottom, there's his barcode if that helps anybody. And on the back side, here's Azrael posed up looking badass with those claws. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And here is the red version of Azrael in his Batman armor, next to the Platinum Chase variant, blue version of Azrael in his Batman armor. They are both fantastic looking figures. Got them both at Target today. And then here are all three versions of Azrael in his Batman armor. One from Knightfall, two from Knightsend. He actually had two different versions of the suit, or I guess three. We have the original version from Knightfall, then he had a different one from Knightquest Knightsend, and then at the end of Knightsend, he had the red version. They're all badass looking figures. Alright, now that we have these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. They don't come with any traditional accessories, but they do have these removable wings, which I think are made that way more so to prevent you from breaking them. They also come with a display stand and a collector's card. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figures. So this is Azrael, technically from Knightsend. That's when he wore his red suit at the very end of Knightsend. And then we have the Platinum Chase variant in his blue armor. I would call that a Knightquest Azrael. Now, Azrael's real name is Jean-Paul Valley. He took over the mantle of Batman when Bane broke Batman's back. He remained Batman for a few years in real time, and it was a huge, monumental storyline in the Batman comics. 90s, great stories. That was when I was reading as a kid. Azrael took over as Batman and then upgraded his suit. He had an armored suit, claws on his hands, etc., and it was quote-unquote cool. It really seems like quite a McFarlane thing to do. Make somebody like Azrael Batman in a big, armored, clawed, spiked suit. But that's why Azrael's so cool. His gear is so cool, but he made a horrible Batman. He ended up kind of being a dick to everybody else. He took things too far, started allowing villains to be killed, in fact, killing them himself. So eventually they had to overthrow him, and Bruce retook the mantle. And then later, Jean-Paul Valley became an agent of the Bat. Originally, he was Azrael, an order of the Saint Dumas, and then he became a Batman ally. Then he took over the mantle of Bat. Then he got overthrown by Bruce, and he is a Batman ally again. At one point, he died, but they brought him back in the Rebirth comics, and here we are. And this is one of his most iconic looks. Jean-Paul Valley in the armored bat suit from Knightquest. Now, it's a little bit different from his suit in Knightfall. We'll get into that a little more as the video progresses. Now, this is a very intelligent way of doing a Platinum Chase variant because it's very accurate to comics. He had pretty much the exact same suit and two different color schemes, but it's not fair for the people that want to get both of them. Now, personally, I think the blue one should have been the normal version because I think that's the more desirable version. He wore that in probably 90% of his appearances, at least between these two colors. The red one was unusual. He just wore it at the very end, and it's something a little bit different. It makes perfect sense for a Platinum. Either way, happen to have them both in hand. They're both important pieces of the collection. In this video, we're going to take a look at the figures. We'll put them together, check out their accessories, height, and articulation, and compare them to a bunch of other Azrael figures and a bunch of other figures from different various companies. Hope you guys enjoy. Let's take a look. Like I said, they're exactly the same figure, besides the obvious paint differences. So, starting with his head here, he's got an armored helmet. It's got a visor with red lenses here. It looks very good. Big shoulder pads. Bat symbol here stretched out, signature to the comics. He has sort of a light at the front here. His gauntlets have his fins. Then he has this thing that's going to shoot discs, sort of spiked batarangs. And you can see the ammunition that goes to his back. Very well done. This is where his wings will connect. He has claws, but they're in fists. It would have been nice if he had alternate hands, clawed hands. As you go further down, this looks very familiar. I believe these are the legs from the previous armored Azrael, and that should be very accurate and appropriate. Now this guy's a little bit darker color scheme than that one. I find that kind of interesting. But man, that looks really good. Now let's check out his accessories. Like I said, he doesn't really have any traditional accessories. That's fine. We have a display stand, typical McFarlane stand we've seen a million times before. Then we have his collector's card. As you can see, it's Azrael in his red armored suit. Azrael in Batman armor from Batman Knightsend. On the back side there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Smooth, armored cowl. It looks good. It looks good in red. It looks good in blue. Overall, just a cool design. And here's a closer look at the blue ones. I think this one looks better. This is the one right here. This is Azrael in his Batman armor. This is his signature look. This is what I associate with him. If I had to pick one, it would have been this one. But I feel like he should have like a little red dot above, I think, his right eye. I don't know. Like a little sort of laser or something. Still, it looks fantastic. Very well done. This is Azrael in Batman armor. That missing little red dot that goes above his left eye right here, that detail's bothering me quite a bit. I'm not exactly sure what that thing was. I think it was like a laser sight to aim his batarangs. But it's the little details like that that really sort of elevates the figure, and missing it is noticeable because that was signature to his look in his second armored suit, which is exactly what this is. Even Mattel got that part right. Now let's take a look at his wings. He comes with 6 wings. Put them all on there and you have a complete set. It's made of a hard plastic. It's not very gummy. It'll peg into his back right here. And I appreciate the fact they're removable. Not that I really want to take them off, but if they're permanently attached, they could potentially break off. In this way, you prevent that from happening. Although the trade-off is they're going to be falling off some of the time. Here are the Azrael figures without their wings. And here they are with the wings attached. So the wings have sort of a mechanical look. I don't know, 2 little sort of spinning things here. They definitely look metallic. There's no real logical reason to have wings like this besides just looking cool. And that they sure do. I did want to mention the suit. So, in Knightquest, he had this blue armored suit. In Knightsend, he still had the blue armored suit. And at one point, when Bruce Wayne put the bat costume back on and was fighting Azrael, Azrael used his flamethrower. He can not only shoot batarangs out of one side, but flames out of the other, or somewhere else out of his arm, and cause a big fire. He eventually got thrown into the fire, and they couldn't find his body, and eventually came out, and his suit had been burnt, and it was all red at that point. And then it was just sort of red for the next couple issues. And now I wanted to check out the differences between these 2 figures. And of course, besides the obvious paint differences, it's 100% the same figure. So let's take a look. So, start with their heads here. I'm really leaning more toward the blue one here. It just looks more what I'm familiar with. I like it. The red here loses a little bit, like in the face. The eyes, they really pop on this one. They sort of blended on this guy. Bat symbol looks great. The gold is pretty much the same on the 2 figures. The gray is considerably darker on this guy than this guy. And I'd have to look to see if that's accurate to the comics. He's got his signature sort of leg belt. The fins on the legs, as well as the arms. His ammunition here going all the way to the back. The wings, like I said, they're hard plastic, but they're not going to break. They're going to pop out, which can be annoying, but preferable to breaking. As a whole, they both look great. You can see even on the gloves, he has more of a silver. He has more of like a white, off-white color scheme. I do wish they had some open clawed hands, but fantastic figure nonetheless. And now to check out the reuse and differences between the original Knightfall version of Azrael in Batman armor. Now, this is the version that has the cape, and then later he upgraded and got the wings. Some similarities, and I think the base of the suit is the same, but he kept upgrading. He started off wearing just a regular Batman suit, then he added the gauntlets, then he added the cape and had a really cool look, and then he changed it, more armored up, more spiked, wings, etc. So, on these 2 guys here, obviously the heads are totally different. This sort of overlay on top of the figure, also different. It looks like the pieces underneath are the same, including the stomach, the abs. Now the arms, looks like they're the same, they just added this sort of firing thing on top, which he did have the means to do in this suit as well. The hands a little bit different. I do wish they used these hands and painted them properly this time. You could always do a hand swap if you wanted to. Going further down, looks like the legs are exactly the same. Color's a lot darker on him. That's really how it should have looked on this one to begin with. Here is sort of the evolution of Azrael's suits during Knightfall. So, before Knightfall, he was in his traditional Order of St. Dumas Azrael suit. And then, after he became a Batman ally, he was wearing this sort of black, spiked suit. It was actually really cool. I would love to see a figure of that, but it was barely any issues at all. And when Batman had his back broken, he took over as Batman and wore the exact same suit as Batman wore in the 90s. And then, as he slowly upgraded the suit, he had these spiked gauntlets on. Then, he donned this entire armored, pretty cool-looking suit, and that was for Knightfall. Then, in Knightquest, he made a more armored suit, and then Knightsend at the very end, he was wearing a red version of that suit. After that, he put his Order of St. Dumas suit back on, and then during Azrael Ancient of the Bat, he had a different suit on, and then he died. In the Rebirth, they sort of randomly brought him back, and he's wearing his Order of St. Dumas suit again. I also wanted to try a head swap. I thought this NECA Flash Gordon would make a fantastic short-haired Jean-Paul Valley. Now, at the beginning of Knightfall, Jean-Paul Valley had long hair, glasses, looked very nerdy, and as the system, his sort of mental training for the Order of St. Dumas was kicking in, he was building his armored suit, he ended up cutting his hair, pretty much essentially became a badass. And I'll tell you, that came out fantastic. It looks like it was meant to be Jean-Paul Valley in this look. Fits and looks perfect on this body. I may just have to track down another one to keep it like this. Now they've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories. Now let's check out their height. From bottom to the top of their heads, about 7.2 inches tall, which can translate to 18 centimeters. If you go to the top of the ears, about 7.4 inches tall. If you go to the top of the wings, about 7.7 inches tall. And for their articulation. Starting with his head, of course, it can rotate side to side. He can look up about that far, down that much, pretty nice. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes out 90 degrees. Up, down, around. It is a little bit prohibitive from going higher than that, but you can go all the way out. He does have a butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest area, increasing the range of motion and covering a large gap that would be there. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows, they go in about this far. Bulky armor doesn't really allow it to go any further. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. In his torso, he has a ball joint, and it's hidden very nicely, the armor on top. Rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, once again, hidden very nicely. Rotate around, forward and back. Legs, complete with splits, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation is minimal, but there. The legs go forward, about that far. You can go to the side to get them up even more. He has double jointed knees here. Now, he's big, bulky, and sort of clunky. He takes a lot of space. You can see his legs are hitting his wings. It's very easy to sort of knock him out. I can see it's already starting to come out a little bit at the top. You just got to be a little bit careful with how you handle him. And then his ankle, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and of course, toe articulation. It starts off with a bruised and nearly broken Batman. He's at the Batcave doing research. He's been fighting his rogues for the past few months as Bane's been studying his every move and weakening him. Bane surprises Batman in the Batcave. He's very weak, but he stands up to fight. Bane then jacks himself full of venom, towering over Batman. It's in this moment that Bane lifts Batman above his head, and finally, he breaks him. Breaks his back over his knee like it's nothing. Bane comes to the rooftops of Gotham, lifts Batman above his head. He says, "I am Bane. The city is mine. Batman is no more. I have destroyed him. I rule these streets. I rule Gotham. Here is your hero, your protector. Take him and bury him." Bane proceeds to throw Batman off the top of the building. Batman lands on the ground. Police are surrounding the area. Commissioner Gordon, Bullock, and Montoya, and a bunch of other GCPD officers are looking down at this broken, bloody Batman. An ambulance comes. They load Batman up and drive away. Little do the police know, it's actually Alfred and Jean-Paul Valley saving Bruce. Bruce and Alfred knew Gotham needed a Batman. They approached Jean-Paul Valley, and as I recall, he was initially reluctant to don the mantle of the Bat. At this point, it was Jean-Paul Valley as Batman and Tim Drake as Robin, the dynamic duo. Back in the Batcave, Jean-Paul Valley was at the workbench. He was working on the new gloves or claws. There was something called the system, which was in his brain. Some sort of mind control or brainwashing caused by the Order of St. Dumas. It would kick in, and he'd be able to do mechanical work, create stuff. When he'd fight, it would take over. He would be out of control. This is how his armored suit was made. The system kicked in and pretty much did it all overnight. Here's Azrael with his upgraded gauntlets and gloves. Now that he had the gloves on, he was becoming more violent, more evil, more of a loner. At this point, there was no Batman or Robin. Jean-Paul Valley made it very clear, it's just Batman. A while later, as Azrael has donned the mantle of the Bat, he finally takes on Bane. He starts off by immediately launching batarangs all over Bane. After a long, drawn-out, bloody fight, Azrael gets the upper hand. Azrael wins. He's about to strike that killing blow at Bane. And right before Azrael kills Bane, he stops, drops him down, says, "No, you're broken, Bane. Blackgate Prison can hold the pieces." Commissioner Gordon looks and thinks, maybe it is still him. Maybe it is still our Batman. Shortly after, Azrael makes an even more armored suit, different design. He starts getting more brutal. Tim Drake Robin confronts him in the Batcave, and then he throws him out, bans him from the cave. During the events of Knightquest, Jean-Paul Valley as Azrael, his armored batsuit, even fought Clayfaces 3 and 4 in the streets of Gotham. The character, the Hood from Batman Incorporated, was first introduced in Shadow of the Bat, Knightquest, with Azrael. Azrael confronted the serial killer Abattoir. He's one of those more obscure bat rogues. At one point, Azrael actually let Abattoir fall to his death. Robin saw this happen, and that was when Azrael had officially crossed the line. Later, after Bruce Wayne is healed from his injuries, he comes back, tries to reclaim the mantle of the Bat, but Azrael refuses. Ends up being a showdown between the two, and of course, we all know Bruce Wayne comes out on top, becomes Batman again. Here's a look at both these Azrael figures. The Platinum Chase blue version from Knightquest, and the red version from Knightsend. Now let's check them out. Next is some other action figures, starting off with some other Azrael figures. Here they are, next to the previous McFarlane DC Multiverse Azrael and Batman armor. This is a Walmart exclusive. This particular one is from Batman number 500. He wore this version with the cape for the beginning of Knightquest, and then quickly upgraded to this more armored version. And then Knightsend had this at the very end of the saga. I got an extra Knightfall Batman and extra Azrael and Batman armor because I wanted to do a farm swap. This was the end result here. In the comics, Jean-Paul Valley originally donned the regular Bat costume, so you could use this for either Bruce Wayne or Jean-Paul Valley. And then, as things progressed, he ended up with these armored gloves or claws, and then the entire armored suit. So it's kind of cool. You can have many, many different incarnations of Jean-Paul Valley as Batman from the Knightfall saga. McFarlane's first Azrael figure was from Curse of the White Knight. This is Azrael in his traditional Order of St. Dumas outfit. Not exactly the same as he wore in Sword of Azrael or the Rebirth, but pretty close. So it's pretty cool to have an option of Azrael as a Batman ally in his Order of St. Dumas outfit, or dressed as Batman. To me, I use this as a Batman ally for the Rebirth comics, and I hope they make that specific version. Although, like I said, it's pretty similar to this one. McFarlane actually released 3 different versions of this Curse of the White Knight Azrael. This one here is a Suit of Sorrows version, and although it's labeled Jean-Paul Valley, it's definitely supposed to be the Michael Lane version. Then we have Curse of the White Knight Azrael, Jean-Paul Valley, and the sketch version. Then, McFarlane made another Azrael from Curse of the White Knight. This is Azrael in Batman armor. Although it's from a completely different storyline, although it's heavily influenced from the Knightfall suit. You can see he has the same sort of thigh belt, gauntlets, gloves, claws. The mask looks very similar. It's a pretty cool reinterpretation, although can't touch the classic. Here are all of my McFarlane DC Multiverse Azrael figures. I sure wouldn't mind getting one from Sword of Azrael, getting one in his Rebirth suit. I would love one from the suit he wore when he was a Bat ally before he became Batman, but that was pretty obscure. And then we also have the Age of the Bat version, so there are so many options for future Azrael figures, in addition to Michael Lane from the comics, Azrael's father, etc., etc. And here they are, next to a DST or Diamond Select Toys TV show Gotham Azrael. This one is not Jean-Paul Valley. This is actually Theo Gallivan, a made-up character for the TV show. Sometimes in my action figure universe, I pretend this is Azrael's father in the Azrael costume. And now, next to the DC Direct Jean-Paul Valley Armored Azrael figures. Here they are, next to the DC Direct Michael Lane Azrael figures. Here are these versions of Azrael and the Batman armor from Knightquest, next to Mattel's versions. The Mattel DC Universe Classics Azrael and Batman armor is a fantastic figure, and McFarlane is pretty much every bit as good. Now, there are some things Mattel did better, and some things McFarlane did better. So, look at the head. Mattel added that red dot that is supposed to be there. McFarlane did not. So Mattel bothered with the detail, but they couldn't even be bothered to put the gauntlets on right. They have these fins backwards. McFarlane has one the right way. Beyond that, figure very similar. This one has a lot more texturing. That's something McFarlane's known for. Mattel, very smooth, bland. Wings, a lot more detailed, a lot more bland. Both excellent figures. Mattel also made the Sword of Azrael St. Dumas suit in their DC Superheroes line. It's a fantastic figure. I hope McFarlane makes this version, although the Curse of the White Knight version is pretty close. Here they are, next to the Mafex Azrael and Batman armor. Then, with a couple of Hasbro 6-inch scale Azrael and Batman armor figures. Next, here they are with a custom Jean-Paul Valley in civilian attire that I made. This is a long-haired, sort of nerdy version. This is how he looked at the beginning of Knightfall, but then he cut his hair and altered his look as he progressed. And now, with a custom Theo Gallivan in civilian attire. Theo Gallivan was the Azrael of the TV show Gotham, and he was mayor of Gotham for a very brief period of time. And finally, here they are, next to some Assassin's Creed figures. These are from both NECA and McFarlane Toys. I use these guys as members of the Order of St. Dumas. The Order of St. Dumas is a religious cult that trains and brainwashed Azrael. They have him brainwashed with the system. The metal of Azrael is passed down from generation to generation. There's typically only one, and he worked for them. They have hoods, kind of look similar to the Azrael, so works for me. Now let's check them out next to some other McFarlane Knightfall figures. We have Catwoman, Bruce Wayne Batman, and Nightwing. These are the figures that are officially labeled Knightfall by McFarlane Toys. And these new ones are officially labeled Knightsend, although I'd say the blue one is more so Knightquest. They actually made 2 variants of Catwoman and 3 variants of Batman. We have the Platinum Chase of Catwoman, which is not really accurate to anything from Knightfall, and then the Black and Gray Knightfall Batman, the original Blue and Gray, and the San Diego Comic-Con. And McFarlane released both Bane and Tim Drake Robin, and while not officially labeled Knightfall, you can kind of squeeze them in. Bane here is, I believe, from the Rebirth comics, and then Robin is anywhere in that sort of time period of the 90s, so it works with Knightfall. Now there's the upcoming Mr. Zaz figure, and I don't know if he's officially dubbed Knightfall or not, but he would fit into this collection as well. Now let's check him out with some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here they are, with the rest of their wave. We have the Platinum Chase variant of Detective Comics 27, and the Platinum Azrael Batman armor, the Black and Gray Knightfall Batman, then the regular Azbats and First Appearance Batman. Here's Azrael, next to the Target exclusive Cassandra Cain Batgirl and Rival. And here they are, next to the JLA wave, Collector Build Plastic Man. We have both versions of Aquaman, both versions of Superman, both versions of Green Lantern, Batman, and then 2 completed versions of Plastic Man. Then, next to the most recent Page Puncher wave, this is based off Superman, Ghost of Krypton. We have both the Platinum and regular versions of Val-Zod, Armored Superman, Ghost of General Zod, and both the Platinum and regular versions of Brainiac. And now, with the digital or phygital wave, we have the Silver Age Hal Jordan Green Lantern, the DC Rebirth Batman, and the DC Classics Aquaman. Here they are, with the Amazon exclusive Kilowog and Kyle Rayner Green Lantern 2-pack. And finally, next to the Walmart exclusive Wally West Flash and Vampire Nightwing. Now let's check them out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how they fit in, both scale and style-wise. In case you don't know which lines you can mix them with, since they're McFarlane Toys, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check them out with some of their McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures and some DST or Diamond Select toys, here they are, next to a container of motor oil. And here they are, next to some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco 112 Collective and some Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, these are some fantastic Azrael, Knightfall, Batman Armor, Azbat figures. My complaints about these guys. Well, the missing red dot above the left eye. I wish they had some open hands with the claws. And their wings, they kind of get in the way. It makes for a really awkward action figure. And that's not really any fault of McFarlane's, that's just the design of the character. And there's no real better way to make it accurate. When you move the legs back, they're going to hit the wings. If you're going to hold the figure, you're going to have to do it awkwardly because the wings are just... What about everything else is awesome about these guys? The sculpt and paint job are excellent. The reuse is smart and makes perfect sense for the previous Armored Azrael. Their accessories are pretty much non-existent, and that's fine. Just wish they had an extra pair of hands. Articulation, everything expected from a modern McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. If I had to rate these guys, easy 8 out of 10. I'm probably going to give them an 8.5 because I really like the Knightfall storyline. Really like the way these figures look. Really like how they came out. And I like how there's an option to get both the blue and the red versions. 8.5, good rating in my book, good figure, like it a lot. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.